Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Craig Peloquin coming in from White Rock, British Columbia.
And I'm Dennis Wilson coming to you from Yaletown, Vancouver, also in British Columbia. And today we're going to get into a proven 7-step restaurant New World survival plan. I think the New World, Craig, it's been overused a little bit, but the reality is the way things were probably aren't coming back. And after talking to a lot of restaurant owners, working with a bunch of them, scouring Facebook groups and forums and everything, we've realized there's sort of 7 things that a restaurant can do that are, well, we'll say that they're simple, but they're not easy. So
That's
I
right.
think let's get into that and start seeing who we can help with some ideas.
Now, Dennis, before we get started, just explain a little bit about who you are. This is you on stage in front of a bunch of business owners and some restaurateurs you're in Barcelona here, are you not?
Yeah, this was Barcelona. I do a lot of speaking around the world, helping small businesses. I usually implement CRM and sales automation and funky techniques to increase their business, sort of do some of the things they probably always should have been doing, but no one sort of created the reasoning behind why they should be doing it. And yeah, this was in Barcelona. It was just a fantastic crowd. It was really weird. There was 7 different languages being translated simultaneously. So every time you'd give a point and you'd be like, okay, this is one of the juiciest points. They're going to be so excited. It's the juiciest point. And then you'd sort of hear this segment of the audience laugh. And then this segment of the audience wouldn't because it didn't translate well. And this, so everything you said had this sort of 10 to 15 second delay while it got translated to all of these languages. So anyways, it was quite an experience, helped a lot of people. And yeah, it's just all part of the different verticals that Small Business Dream helps around the world. And of course, with Delivery Biz Connect for restaurants and retail customers, it's just all a really good fit.
Right, and we just we added on Delivery Biz Connect to an already existing 20-year-old platform. You've been doing this for a long time, Dennis. You're one of the top network marketing software companies in the world. And you've done a pivot to small business in the last 5 years.
Yeah, we really started to feel it was, more of a heart-based business as we helped small business owners. And it just got really exciting. And at first it was a bit of a hobby that my staff thought I was nuts. And now it's just become a full-blown thing that operates on its own. And it's really, really quite fantastic to be working with small business owners and helping them increase sales. So let's get into the things that we can help with, Craig, after we tell your story.
Well, mine's a little bit different. I worked with a tiny little fast food chain for about 10 years. That actually is me. I was Ronald McDonald for 10 years. The funny thing with McDonald's is there really is a place called Hamburger University. I had to go there. I had to learn all the stuff in order to be their clown, Dennis. You'd be surprised, but I had to go to Hamburger University, the training. I had to learn about the restaurant operations, the front end, the back end. I went through extensive training with, I guess you could say, one of the largest restaurant chains in the world and one of the biggest landowners.
So just being one of the best junior magicians in Canada at the time wasn't enough. You still had to go learn about how to run a McDonald's. That's very cool.
McDonald's, so I could probably run one today. Well, at least I don't know if I can remember everything from the manual, but boy, oh boy, they've got systems in place. You know why? Systems are so important, which is why we got a 7-step system we're going to explain today. But systems are so important. That's why a Big Mac is the same in Vancouver as it is in New York, as it is in London.
And Japan, by the way.
There you go. So, hey, Dennis, let's just get right in the 7 steps. Now people know a little bit about us and what we've done, why we're here to help you with your restaurant. So, step 1.
Step 1's so uncomfortable. This is uncomfortable though, Craig. I've never collected my customer data. Craig, my customers are different. My customers will not like it if I collect their data. Like, come on now. And unfortunately, this was the old way of thinking. And what we've seen amongst our clients is the clients who were collecting their data, not just thinking, oh, but I have 5,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram, because that's a nice start, but you only get about 2% penetration with every post.
Yeah.
But we found the people who had their data and could just do a blast that says, hey, we're doing takeout, literally had such an immense head start over all of the people who didn't want to have a newsletter and didn't want to collect data and didn't want to take the time to give a little piece of paper to have people fill it in. And oh my God, my staff will never agree to enter that. Well, goodness gracious, I got to tell you, nobody knew COVID was coming because those that were collecting it really, really, really did better.
Yeah.
So,
And,
um,
and and we see the pushback. I mean, we're in the restaurants, Dennis. We're constantly coaching, and the pushback, it's something different. You
yeah,
know, I don't want to ask for my customer's first and last name.
yeah,
I don't want to ask for their email because they're not going to want to give it to me.
yeah,
And the pushback from staff is huge. And if the owner of the restaurant allows the pushback,
it's all
they're
over.
not going to collect the data.
That's right.
Fortunately, COVID now
COVID's helping you out,
is going
people.
to help you because now you need to collect your data. So now it's no longer optional.
Yeah.
You're going to need to get the first and last name, phone number, and email of every single person that comes to your takeout window or
Or to
comes
dine
into
in.
your restaurant.
Yeah, and this is province by province and state by state and country by country, but having some kind of a check-in function or a person at the door, or, it's crazy. And we at first in Delivery Biz Connect, we're thinking, hey, we're just going to get a thing like the bar watch where you just swipe your driver's license and it knows all about you. But it turns out that swiping of the driver's license, the data you're actually allowed to have is very limited. So it doesn't give you enough to contact that person. Um, so anyways, it's a bit of a kerfuffle, but yeah, sign-in sheets and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, as a CRM guy, I mean, I'm sorry, I love the fact that this is happening because it'll help restaurants more than they can imagine, but I also get it. How do you deal with the 300-pound muscly guy that argues and says, I'm coming into your restaurant and I'm not giving you my data? How is that the restaurant's job to police that? So that's the part that's hard about it. Now, that said, what's interesting, well, you figured this out, Craig. How do you get a staff member to get over it? You get them to try the right words for asking the data. And
Yeah.
the right words are almost speaking like a police officer. Police officers don't ask questions, they give orders.
Yeah.
So you should run through the simple words that you use and the tips that you've learned that can take the stress out of this, because it's surprising. If you
Well,
ask,
and
they'll
what
give
we've
it.
learned, Dennis, is that first of all, before you go and enter an order, because it's for takeout or deliver coming in, you ask them for their phone number.
Yeah.
And getting a phone number out of somebody,
Simple.
nobody hesitates. There's no hesitation. You need my phone number.
So you got your first yes.
Why.
So you got your first yes. Well, can I get your phone number? Done. You got your first yes. You're on your way.
Right. Then you ask for their first and last name. Okay, great. I got you. Now I need your name. Now,
Yeah.
ironically, once somebody gives the first and last name, and people say, well, I have a difficult last name and it's hard to spell. That's okay. I only need to get this information from you once, John.
That's right. John
Papadopoulos.
Slazinski.
I know I can't spell it. I only need it one time, John. Because once
Yeah.
I got your name once, I'll be able to get all the information from your phone number. So I'm only asking this one time, which
Yeah.
is great. That takes all the pressure off. So you spell it out. Yes, there's hard names. Yes, you need to repeat it. Can you say it a third time? I'm sorry I didn't get it right. Read it back. You got the name right. Then at that point, it's easy to say, oh, well, I've got you here. What's
Hey, what's your email? I'll add you to our special offers list. And if they say no to that, let it be no. Because the difference is with the rules around collecting for COVID, the government is sort of suggesting in some places that you do need to have email address. So if they say no, then obviously you're going to mark them as a no to getting special offers, and you're not going to send them special offers. It would only be for contacting them in case you had an infection or an infected person come to your delivery window.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part about it. You ask, they say no to the offers, and that's the thing. Would you like to be on the offers? No, I want to be on the offers. Okay, well, I still need to get your email address for COVID, but I'll mark you down as not sending you any information.
Yeah.
It will relieve the stress on it. And as far as them saying, I refuse to give you my email address, I don't know how that, I don't think anyone knows yet how that's going to shake out in the places where the government has mandated collection of data. So that would be a restaurateur's choice.
They say no. I don't have an email. Okay. No
well,
problem.
and to be honest, if it was me, I think I would sort of mark that person as a potential problem anyways. So I might personally be inclined to refuse service to someone who creates that much of a problem at my takeout window, or that much of a problem coming in. What's the next thing they're going to disagree with? I refuse to wear a mask. I refuse to not touch everything on my way to the washroom. I refuse to wait until it's sanitized. Like, to me, you're sort of, for me, it would be a red flag. That'd be like a guy coming up drunk at bar watch and not being able to find his driver's license to give me. Well, maybe I just shouldn't let him in the first place.
No, I mean, and every restaurant owner is going to have, Believe me, I'm talking with them. I'm working with them
That's
every
right.
day. And there is the pushback. My customers aren't going to like it. But many of them are saying, you know what? COVID is great because now I have an excuse to
That's right.
collect their data and be able to follow up, because follow up is everything, Dennis.
That's right. Well, and that's a key point. You've realized that the minute the rumor of needing to collect it for purposes of COVID came in, the owner that has reluctant staff says, "Look, we have no choice. We have to. It's COVID." Boom! Everyone falls in line instantly because now there's a reason other than to market to people or other than to feel like it's a dirty thing,
Right.
which is crazy to me. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a dirty thing. So you'd rather lose your house, lose your money, lose your restaurant, lose your business because your staff feels dirty about doing. Before COVID, there was this restaurant in Vancouver. It was a Korean barbecue place, and they took over a space that has gone bankrupt almost on a schedule of about every 8 months. Okay, it's an oversized space. It's down some stairs. It's in a back corner. It's uncomfortable, and it's actually a Japanese franchise that came in there. And when you first went in there, they'd offer you free edamame, a little tiny bit of free edamame if you liked them on Facebook and if you filled in a form with your opinion of the service. And they'd give you the waitresses chewed up pencil. I mean, it was just crazy. The waitresses chewed up pencil, and then you went back a couple weeks later and it was still happening. And now they had little golf pencils that you could actually steal. You could take home that 3-cent golf pencil that said the name of the company on it. And, they just kept relentless. And it was a little tiny piece of paper, photocopied 100 times, slightly crooked, cut crazy. Everything that a restaurateur would go, oh my God, it's unprofessional, it's terrible, it's stupid, it's insane, you can't do that. And then they started having $9.99 pitchers of beer. Hey, that's pretty cool. And they kept collecting this data, and they forced someone in their company, or they paid outsource to have it entered. And yep, sometimes you couldn't read the email address, sometimes you couldn't. These people are now, I think, in their 7th year of business. There's a lineup waiting every single night of the week. It is packed, jammed, and they still send out their emails. Now they've evolved to an app, and now they've evolved on. And are they hurting during COVID? Nope. Even though this humongous space that has too many seats for most people to survive in, they're holding their own. And they're a place. It's a grill. It's a grill. The whole thing is the experience of grilling your meat in front of yourself at the table. Yet
Yeah.
they're killing it with takeout because they have a massive database. So, it's really important. It was important before COVID. It's more important now during COVID.
Yeah,
So
and,
data
and
collection
Dennis,
is the key.
but my customers don't want to get an email from me. They don't want to hear from me. That's wrong thinking. They don't hear enough from you. They
Yeah.
want to know you're okay.
Yeah.
They want to help you. And sending them an email and good content and saying, hey, here's what's going on. Here's our update. Here's when we plan to reopen inside. Before then, please use our takeout, use our delivery options. Go to our website, follow us on Facebook.
Educate them as to how much it hurts you when they use Uber Eats, and that you'd love them to use you because you already know them, and use Uber Eats for people they don't know. But boy, even then, teach them, guys, use Uber Eats or whoever the first time, and then switch to the delivery service if you love their food, if they do it themselves. And we're going to get into a little bit more about delivery and stuff.
We will. We will get more into that, Dennis, for sure. So,
data is key. You got to collect it, even without the government saying so. You should be collecting it. It's the way to invite people back. It's a way to say the kitchen's closing on a slow night. You tell people the kitchen's closing on a slow night, Craig, and all of a sudden a whole bunch of people that had no concept of buying from you feels a panic and they decide to order from you. So there's so many ways to use the data that doesn't offend anyone, right? Give them a free cookie if they place an order in the next 30 minutes. Boy, that costs you 12 cents for a $40 order, and the person's not going, oh man, I hate the fact that they offered me a free cookie, Craig.
There you go. Now, and that brings us to step 2. You got your data. Now you want to be able to do online orders for pickup. Prepaid is best. If you can do it prepaid, that's great. You can set up with PayPal. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
But
or Square or a number of others. But yeah, so now we get into prepaid online orders for pickup. And the neat part is a prepaid online order is collecting the data automatically. So this is the cool part. You don't have the frustration of your staff saying, well, I don't want to collect it. The people are going, and your form says, give me your first name, give me your last name, give me your phone number, give me your email. If you want to not collect their last name, you could set your form to say, hey, don't force them to do last name. Don't force them to email. It'll be up to you on how you configure your actual form setup. But that's the coolest part. As you simply offer this option, a couple of magic things happen. Your telephone orders get less busy, which means there's a little bit less stress on you. Your
Mhm.
online orders start to take over some of the people that would have called and spent 5 or 10 minutes of your staff's time. And that gets complicated because, again, how do you spell your last name again? What was that? The music's blaring. What? Sorry? Huh? What? Right? So the fact is, by simply turning on online orders, you increase sales and you increase customer satisfaction. And it's nowhere near as hard to do as most people think. A lot of POSs will do it. Obviously, Delivery Biz Connect, we'd love to tell you a million things about that because it'll do all that. But man, I tell you, getting an online ordering system's like magic. We had a client that did $1,000 in sales on a Saturday, and then we turned on the online orders on a Sunday. He did $2,000, of which 1,000 were online orders. Day to day, I mean, is it a fair comparison? Does that mean it'll always double your sales? No, but there was one case where the only difference between a sunny Saturday and a sunny Sunday with low promotion was doubling the sales because of online orders.
Yeah.
Customers are looking for it these days. I mean, it's okay if you as the restaurant owner is a bit of a dinosaur with dinosaur thinking. The problem is your customers probably aren't as dinosaurish as you think.
Right.
So
And
got to catch up.
And Dennis, you don't need to run it through your POS and think you need to have a lot of technology. You
No.
can run it in tandem, side by side. The order comes in online. Most ways you can set it up will print even on your little ticket printer.
Yeah.
You can set it up to do that.
Yeah, and there's lots of little bits and pieces that you connect together to do this with. There's some really cool stuff happening in one of the groups I'm in Facebook where people are trying to patch it all together. Again, we try to create that full system for you, but there's lots of ways to do it. If you don't want to pay $99 a month, you can probably get most of it done for close to free with a little bit of extra time. So the point is, it doesn't really matter what system you buy or how you do it. Taking online orders is not really optional, right? It's absolutely critical or you're losing a ton of potential business. And it's as simple as everyone who comes in who phoned in an order, when they come in, they get a takeout menu with your URL on it and your QR code on it so they can now get to their online order. Maybe you offer a free cookie or you offer a free side of fries or you offer something on their first order that they order online, or maybe you just do nothing.
Yeah.
This client of ours we just talked about, he did nothing. He just turned it on and he put the link on his website and he posted on Facebook and he sent out an email blast from his database, which wasn't even that big. So just having it, well, Uber Eats, all of these guys, they all have online ordering.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. People look for you online, they find you online, and you could be doing that yourself, and you need to be doing that.
So think about some of the other advantages of online ordering, and you just pulled out your phone, Dennis, and that's really important because the telephone is where a lot of people are going to place their orders from, and they can do that if there's a line at your takeout window. So you've got advantages. Now we're getting to the point where menus are no longer going to be an option, Dennis.
That's right. Contactless is where it's going.
So imagine even when you're in the restaurant, having the ability for somebody to pull out their phone and place their order and see your menu from their phone.
It's their device now. So this is the neat part. So you should be doing online orders, but you're not because you don't have the technology. So you invest some time. I mean, most of the technologies are under $100 a month to do. So you invest your time, maybe a little bit of money, and all of a sudden you have online ordering. And bingo, as your restaurant starts to reopen, you just have a QR code that takes them to the exact same online ordering page. They can prepay and everything through your menu, which is the same. So you get a 2-for-1 out of it, Craig. Holy smokes, you're instantly contactless, all because you set up online orders. So, okay, you don't want to do online orders, but you need to do contactless. Oh, crap. Once you set up contactless, you have the ability to do online orders. Oh, no, what am I going to do, Craig?
So true, Dennis. So true. So the importance of prepaid online orders, or at least online orders that they can come and pick up and pay with a tap.
And you know what? Before we move on from this, let's also remember, if you're not currently doing telephone orders, if you're just doing takeout that they rock up to your place and they say, hey, I'd like to take this out. The oldest app in the world is this. I mean, it used to have cords and all kinds of crazy stuff, but hello, could I get a side of French fries and a hamburger, please? It can be easy. Start simple. You don't need to go all crazy and implement the technology. In fact, step by step is helpful. So yes, you got to get to prepaid online orders. But before that, if you're not doing any kind of orders that are incoming, you need to start telephone orders.
Yeah.
And then that'll help you get your restaurant reconfigured a little bit. Because again, we're talking, this is not easy. This is simple. But then you do need to configure your restaurant to be a bit more streamlined for the orders to come in. You need to consider things like um, giving longer pickup windows, right? So if you are opening your restaurant, one of the biggest problems you have is now all of a sudden the dine-in traffic that you want to prioritize is getting in the way of this big rush of takeout orders that you're not used to having. So your head explodes because you can't handle it, because you're in this mode of, oh my God, I got to help my customer. I got to help my customer. And you've been telling them 15 minutes to pick up, 15 minutes. No. 30 minutes to pick up is totally fine, right? Online order for pickup, 30 minutes. Delivery, 45 minutes to an hour. Pre-COVID in downtown Vancouver, if I ordered Chinese food, the chances of getting it any sooner than 45 minutes in downtown Vancouver were just about zero. So now that we're in this mess, it doesn't mean we have to suddenly do everything in 12 minutes.
Right.
Right? Out in the Fraser Valley of Vancouver, it can take an hour to an hour and a half to get something for delivery. So the point is, if you slow down your expectations, it'll allow you to slot the pickup orders in and amongst the dine-in orders. So there is a strategy. Again, it isn't simple. You got to relearn some stuff. This isn't the way it used to be. You're doing things you haven't done before. It doesn't mean they're not worth doing. They're the key to your success and thriving into the future. So yeah, prepaid, you can be scared of it, but you still have to do it. So
Yep.
step by step, piece by piece, learn your way through it.
It brings us right to step 3, Dennis. We've already
Woo-hoo!
kind of mentioned it a little bit, but contactless orders at pickup.
Well,
It
and
all
here's a
works
prime
together.
example. The lady that you were talking down on I think it was in White Rock on the beach, and you were talking to a lady, says, no, we don't do online orders. I just do them all by telephone. So she wasn't really interested in a solution. She thought she had it under control. And then when you said, well, hang on a second, you could actually just stick a menu on your window and people could go to it with a QR code, place that order, and you don't need to spend 5 minutes on the phone. And her eyes went, really?
Yeah.
Yes. So again, it's really easy to think you don't need this technology of any sort and it's all fine. But there's someone who their biggest struggle, you said it was a husband and wife team only,
Mhm.
right? And they didn't have any other staff and she was overwhelmed. She's like, when it gets busy, we can't even keep up. And then as soon as she saw that she could stop being on the phone for even 20% of the orders, there was the vision,
Yeah.
right? So again, it gets really, I get why restaurant owners get stuck, because they keep looking at the end and the end is hard, but they don't realize that every little step they institute leads them towards the end, right? Every little step is a bit easy, and then the next piece and the next piece. So the key is, by implementing your tech stack or your manual processes or whatever it's going to be, getting your WordPress website fixed up, by doing it this way, you get relief. That lady's going to now save 30% of her time in the busy spells to help her husband pack stuff for more takeout orders. The throughput of their restaurant just went up. Their sales will go up just because phone orders became more efficient. And a bunch of people didn't phone, they placed outside. So even that was the other thing too. She really resonated with when you said, well, hang on, you could just be collecting the customer data. So the next time they phone in, you type in their phone number and boom, their record comes up. You don't need to enter the data. And she was like, right? So there's so many little baby steps that enabling these processes and collecting customer data, right? Oh, did we mention something about collecting customer data is important, Craig?
all of our customers right now, they get tired of that 4-letter word because
Oh,
I
they
say
hate it.
it all the time. It's all about the data. When they get tired of me saying data, I call it data.
That's right. And then when they really get uppity about it, we send an email blast to just 100 people and 4 people show up to buy something. And they go, oh,
Get
data?
it. Get it. So remember, we will harp on it all the time, and it's number
Data,
1,
data,
2,
data,
3,
data,
4,
data,
5,
data,
6, and 7. All steps
data.
involve customer
Yeah.
data.
But the
So
cool part is, with implementing the pieces, the data collection all just starts to happen, right? There's a reason for it. I remember when I ordered Chinese food and they actually took my phone number and they said, do you want the same thing you ordered last time? And I was like, you spying on me? And I thought, how cool is that? Because I'm like, well, what did I order last time? And they're like, this and this and this. And here was the neat part. There was 2 things I ordered last time that I hadn't thought to order this time I'd forgotten about. So all of a
There you
sudden
go.
I'm like, huh, yeah. So instead of me ordering what I had last time, I got everything that I wanted this time and the 2 things that I had ordered last time that I forgot to order, and my bill went up 20 bucks.
There you go.
Having control of the data is a direct correlation to making more money.
Yeah,
So once we have your online orders and once we have your systems in place, or you have them in place, now you need to go for the amplifiers,
you do. You
right?
need to go and add things. You're going to turn that ticket of what they're going to order today to eat right now. You want to up your game with take and bake and pantry items.
Yeah, because the problem we have in COVID, and I'm a bad example. Like I mean, I was a 3 to 4 times a week go eat in a restaurant guy. Like I didn't even comprehend the idea of cooking at home 3 days in a row. And I never was much of a takeout guy. I just would go to the restaurant. I live in Yaletown. I walk to a million fabulous restaurants, and they're always happy to take my money. So it was fantastic. And I didn't suddenly go into doing a ton of takeout, right? I started to cook a great big bowl of soup that lasted me 7 days, because all of a sudden I was stuck at home. So I might as well work because I love to work. So it was a bit different for me. But then I started to realize that, well, hang on, if I ordered a nice hamburger, because that's what I felt like, um, I really have a problem, because what I'm thinking about is, okay, so Thursday, what am I going to do? Shoot, if I don't make my big pot of soup. So if all of a sudden I order my nice hamburger and they offered a lasagna 3-pack that I could literally just leave in my freezer, when I'm ready, toss it in the oven for 45 minutes, they've actually solved my problem of what's for dinner in the middle of the week. I don't want to go and order again. I don't want to pay another delivery charge. I don't want to do anything. So the key to the take and bake is don't sell them one at a time. Sell them in a 4-pack, a 5-pack, a 6-pack, a 10-pack. There's a company out in Abbotsford selling take and bake lasagnas. They do nothing else. They barely come off the production line before someone's putting 10 of them into their car for 80 bucks. So there's all kinds of people doing all kinds of crazy, wonderful things, an amalgamation of all of them. Look at even Cactus Club. Cactus Club is doing pantry items. So if you look at what the big guys is doing, there's a reason for it. And yep, I know everyone's going to, oh, but boy, is that legal? And will the health inspector love it and all that? And you know what? You got to know those rules within your locations. But there's a pretty good chance that if a company the size of Cactus Club is doing it, there's probably a way to do it legally, right? And right now, you need to do everything you can to get your bills paid. And the best part is, Craig, now's the time to try unique things, because you can bring your staff back to do unique things at a 75% discount.
Right.
There's not really any way to lose right now, because your labor is effectively free. We had one client where we talked about take and bake lasagnas. He's like, oh no, take and bake lasagnas. Yeah, that's cool, but lasagnas are too labor intensive. Really? Yeah, I can't afford to make lasagnas with $20 an hour people. I said, well, how about if they're $5 an hour? Oh, well, that would help. What are we going to do? Sub out to China? No, just bring your employees back. You get 75% back from the government. Man, we could even afford to make our own noodles, right? This is not the normal world, Craig.
No,
This
it's
is a
not.
different world, right? I don't know the feasibility of it, but I just bought a 16-pound prime rib roast from one of our clients, frozen solid. It barely fit in my Yaletown freezer. So, of course, I'm thinking, are you allowed to defrost it and cut it into pieces? No, better not do. Aha! Man's idea. I think I should go find my hacksaw. And then I realized I didn't have a hacksaw. So then I went online to see if there's such a thing as a meat saw. Craig, there's a meat saw.
And Dennis has a meat saw.
I have a meat saw, so I can cut any big hunk of frozen meat into usable portions. I paid a very fair price. I paid less than I would have paid at Costco, and he made money selling it to me. Everybody won. My wife is going, oh my God, I don't like meat that much. And I'm going, meat. You know, like I have so much grade A or triple A prime rib roast that I'm tempted to sacrilege make some ground beef out of it. So the point is, it works, right? The restaurant owner won. He cleared, in his case, he cleared out his freezer a little bit so he could rotate some inventory. That converts to cash that helps pay the bills. Everybody wins, right? Yeast. I mean, even the grocery stores have taken yeast and started to take their big packages and pre-package it into little packages. So even Save on Foods caliber people are starting to realize that we got to think a little outside the box. Maybe you have huge cans of pasta sauce and you can redo them into little jars of pasta sauce. So imagine now the guy rocks up and he says, "Hey, I want some, I want a hamburger." And you're like, "Well, hang on, we could also sell you this 4-person pasta kit where you give them the actual pasta." The key to doing take and bake, Craig, you got to make sure that you've tweaked your menu items to work well. So if you've pre-baked them and they're just heating them up, you need to give specific warm-up instructions. You need to package them in a way that they'll reheat wonderfully. So you can't just do like we used to do, shove it out the door. You need to do a bit more thinking. Like I said, this is all very simple, but it's not easy because you can't just necessarily send your hamburger out wrapped up the way you always did, because
Right.
that's a low-end experience. If instead you figured out a way to package your hamburger so that they go through the experience of assembling it together and it's just as good as sitting down in your restaurant, now you have a winner. They'll come back to you over and over and over because your food's wonderful, instead
Yeah.
of, oh, half slopped over because the Foodora guy hit his brakes on his bicycle too long. And uh,
Yeah. Well, McDonald's did that a number of years ago. They had something called the McDLT. It
they
was the
did
hot
so.
side hot and the cold
Cold
side
side
cold,
cold.
and it came disassembled. And you put it together yourself. It was thinking outside the box. Now the polystyrene they had to use to make it, it was a lot of waste, so that it didn't stay that way. But that was the 80s.
That's right. So the thing is, you know, I guess the real thing to get serious about is that things have changed. So you can't just do what you did. Same thing like your takeout menu. You need to optimize it so that it's your high margin items. Your flagship items, great, but you got to be thinking about your kitchen, especially as you reopen dine-in. You got to make sure that your dine-in items and your takeout items mesh a little bit so you're not going to blow your kitchen up. So there's lots of little tiny things to consider, but the real thing is action supersedes everything. Take
Yeah.
step one. Take step one. It's an immediate cash flow boost, right? So yeah, pantry items, you get your big quantity stuff, you shrink it down, you sell it in packs. Take and bake, you make 10 lasagnas, you make 10 shepherd's pie, you make 10 Irish stews, you make 10 of whatever your, curries. I don't know how well they freeze, but I'm guaranteeing that there's some really smart Indian restaurant out there that can figure out how to make a curry that freezes better than their standard menu item. So figure that out in your spare time so that you can be giving a great experience. And now you're selling a guy, instead of a $30 hamburger meal, you're selling him a $30 hamburger meal, a 6-pack of beer, 5 cookies. You know what? Sell cookie dough, right? Everybody loves a fresh baked cookie. Nobody wants to make fresh baked cookies, but I want them. Hey, you're selling me frozen cookie dough. I just toss it in. Oh my goodness. And it's a big Starbucks size mega cookie with macadamia nuts and chocolate hunks in it. And it's that decadent wonderfulness that I can't have. And they're $4 each in my mind. And you can get them from the restaurant. You can buy a 5-pack of them, Craig, for $10.
Yeah.
And now you've just upped the order and you solved my cravings for yummy stuff for 4 or 5 days. And Craig, when I go and heat up one of those cookies and I have a nice fresh baked cookie with my coffee 3 days from now, what am I thinking about? Man, I love that
Thinking about the
restaurant.
restaurant you got it from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should order something else. Maybe they'll give me more free cookies because these are kind of good.
Now, what about like a croissant? I mean, there's a perfect
Brilliant.
the dough freeze.
Yeah.
Put that in your little toaster oven. You got a nice fresh baked croissant in the morning.
Yeah. So if you have a pastry chef, or you can collaborate with a bakery, get a bunch of croissants made to the point that they're rolled up, ready to go, and freeze them. Apparently that freezes really well and heats up really well. So again, remember, we're about solving problems. So now you just bought a delicious hamburger and French fries and 6-pack of beer for me. And I gave you the option to make your wife happy tomorrow with a fresh baked croissant. I solved your breakfast problem for the next 6 days, and it was only an extra $15. And it was something different. It was something that you used to get once in a while. And again, a croissant, oh my gosh, croissants are like $4 or $5 even at Safeway. So high margin items that have low cost that you don't have to cook and you can sell frozen. So these are the kind of ways to think. What does your restaurant have or can create that fits the theme of your restaurant, that can be sold in 6 or a dozen, that's either frozen, uncooked, or cooked and can be frozen, or some method in between?
Yeah.
It's just all about, pantry items. You can sell them your 00 flour. Try and buy 00 flour because you've decided you want to try to make your own pasta at home. I dare you to go try it. It's ridiculously expensive. It's hard to get, and it doesn't come quickly. Yet I guarantee there's Italian restaurants sitting on the great big mega bag of it going, we're not using much flour these days. Sell it. Ridiculously high. I just paid $7 at Whole Foods for a bag of flour, and it took me 5 trips there before they had any on the shelf. The world's crazy right now. Help it out.
The other thing too, Dennis, and to increase your take and bake sales, is make small little sample portions and give it to your takeout customers, give it to your delivery customers, a little freebie with a little note. Say, hey, next time you place an order, you may want to order our shepherd's pie. I know that was the fastest way one of our clients
just like
sold
that.
out a shepherd's pie. They had a tiny little serving, and it was so delicious. It was like 2 or 3 bites, but it was completely done in one of those small little side portions. And oh my God.
And boom, 4 at a time. Out the door they go. 4 at a time. Boom, 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 boom. Sold out in like no time. Holy crap. 4 at a time, $40. An extra $40 on top of a $20 order. A super happy customer because they don't have to cook at least 4 times for the next little while, right?
Yeah.
Take and bake and pantry items are a huge, huge thing to up your game. Now it amortizes your delivery costs. And of course, this is not an ideal thing to be doing through the third-party apps that take 30%. But as long as your margin's there, it could work. But in take and bake and pantry, usually you're giving a better value. The key to take and bake is always try to have, so this was the neatest part that we learned, is if you sell a take and bake item that's the same normal portion size that you would sell in your restaurant, it doesn't work so well. Because when people come to your restaurant, they sort of expect to overeat. When they're at home, that thing that doesn't look big in your restaurant, it's like going to Costco, right? That thing of toilet paper is not that big. And then you get it into your 1,000 square foot condo and go, where am I put this? Right? It's not so big in Costco. So same thing, that big dish of food that's actually almost enough for 2 people. Maybe it is actually enough for 2 people. So the key is the sizing of your take and bake. Make sure that it is a healthy 2-person portion. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean 2 times your original 1-person portion. It actually means about 1.5 times the size. So your food cost is less because you don't actually have to sell it as big of a portion. For 2, usually those trays like this, there's these, the foil trays, if it needs to be reheated, they're, I don't know what they are, 9 inches by 6 inches or 5 inches or something. Those are kind of usually the perfect thing where it's enough for 2, or it's enough for 1 super hungry person. And that's the interesting part, is your margins come up because you're actually reducing the portion size, but delivering incredible value because people just don't eat as much when they put it at home on their own plate and see, oh my God.
There you go, Dennis. So true. So take and bake. Now, this is kind of a bone of contention of a lot of restaurants and the reason that we developed Delivery Biz Connect, but the third-party delivery apps can be used effectively for lead generation for you because they're worth every penny for the first time delivery to get a new customer.
Every restaurant out there would happily give 25% off to get a customer in the door. They'd happily give 2-for-1 entrees. When you're building your business, this is just normal. So we recommend, once you've got your online orders in place, and once you've got your processes figured out, that you do actually sign up to 1 or 2 or 3 of the third-party people, especially if you don't have a database. So if you already have really, really good connection through a database, your data, having your data. So not just 5,000 followers on Facebook, but you actually have a database that you can get to the people with. Then maybe you don't need to have them, and that's what you might be working towards. I agree 100%. But if you don't, then having them to find your customer sucks. You got to pay 30% to get your customer the first time. And you know what? It's still worth it, because if you have no way to get your customer to figure out that you're here, it's worth paying 30% for them to now know. But shame on you Shame on you if they order a second time through a third-party app, because that's just 30% out the door. And you would never give someone a repeated 25% off coupon to keep coming back.
Right.
So the key is a strategy to convert them from the third-party apps to your own delivery without doing anything to break the rules of the third-party apps. They're your friend as long as they only ever get
One order.
delivery,
Right.
one delivery per customer, and then they have to become your people.
Well,
So
think about it right now. I mean, doing your own deliveries, and we're going to talk about that, but it's at a discount now.
yeah,
Bring your staff back, but we're not going to go on deliveries on your own. But right now, use the apps, but use them one time.
and the key to conversion is actually simpler than you think. If you so here's the problem, Craig. Your average person, it frustrates me to no end whenever somebody that's a good friend of mine shares on Facebook how much they like one of the third-party delivery apps. I roast them. Man, I private message them, say, what are you doing? If you're going to say you like them, say, hey, I love these guys, but if you already know the restaurant you're going to order from and you didn't find it in that app, do the restaurant a favor and phone and see if they do delivery, or gosh, go pick up from them. Help the restaurant out. You're killing them. And as soon as I tell them the story, they're like, you know what? I never thought about that. And all it takes is someone to tell them the story. And now they'll use those apps more wisely, right? So it's not that hard, Craig. You get your first order. You include your takeout menu. And your takeout menu has a paragraph as to how painful it is to lose 30%. If you love our food and you'd like to order it again, please come to us directly. Because what you may not realize is if you keep ordering through them, I'm going to go broke.
Yep. Pick up
And
the phone, place a phone
yes,
order,
that's
come
okay.
do a pickup. I know you want to have it. And you know what? It's easy to be able to even collaborate a few restaurants that are together and
Share a
hire
driver.
one person to
Yeah,
do your deliveries for two or
yeah,
three of your restaurant,
yeah.
2 or 3 restaurants that are together.
So the key strategy is a takeout menu that includes the story of why you love them. And if they love your food, please come back. Maybe offer them a free take and bake item with their next order or a sample of it. Better yet, Craig, what I would do is I would put a couple of little samples of my take and bake items that are not available on my third-party delivery app menu. I would include them, and then I would suggest that if they love that, they can get that directly from me. And by the way, so giving them a few things, you've now previewed your take and bake. So now you might get a $100 order instead of a $30 order. And you've given them a reason to come to you direct. You've educated them in a nice and polite way. Never slam Uber Eats, never slam skip the dishes. You don't need to. They're your friend to bring you people you didn't know. 30% is relatively cheap as a customer acquisition cost.
Yeah.
It's just not cheap if you got to pay it every
Just keep on
single
doing
time
it.
they order from you.
Exactly. So the apps, they're good if you use them once. Use them
Yeah,
correctly.
use them the right way. Let them bring you people you didn't know about.
Exactly. So we've already said this. It does sound counterintuitive, but really, third-party delivery apps will generate you new customers, especially if you don't have data.
And again, it's usually better to implement them once you've got your online ordering in place and your telephone ordering in place and a way to have to convert people. So get comfortable, get your processes done, then use them, because then it's going to be easier to transition them because you're already set up. You can already handle it.
Yeah. Now you did an interesting survey
Oh
in
my
a
goodness.
popular Facebook group, Dennis.
This was shocking. So I just asked the popular opinion on the cost benefit of doing delivery with your own staff. 38%, Craig. No idea where to start. So hopefully this webinar has helped that 38% because we're about to share where to start. So we hope that it'll help. The one that blew my mind, Craig, 33%, oh, but I live in blah, and you know what? None of my staff drives. Well, hang on. Are you telling me that not one of your staff members has a driver's license? Nah, I don't think so. Are you telling me that none of them have a car? Okay, I agree with that. Are you telling me that there's nobody on your staff, including your manager, your bar manager, or anybody that has a vehicle, or sorry, a driver's license? I'm guessing that that isn't the case, but people are stuck in the old way of thinking. My guys don't drive. Okay, but hang on. If you rented a car or you put proper insurance on your car, or however you get a car, and you get one of your staff members who has a driver's license, who rides his bicycle to your location, but never drives because he doesn't have a car, and he drives your car that's properly insured. Wouldn't that solve the problem? I was just blown away. And I get it, man. Restaurants are just beat up right now. But to have 33% respond with an answer that is basically saying, look, man, I give up. It's just too hard. Or my feeling is, what I feel more is that a lot of that kind of response is coming from the people that are like, no, no, we're going to be open again for business soon. It's going to be fine. It's not going to
Yeah.
be fine. Denny's just did a huge, well, someone wrote a big article about Denny's, and they've reopened, and they've just realized that they're considering closing again, because actually opening their restaurant in reduced capacity is making them $1,000 a day loss over just doing takeout and deliveries like they were doing. So it's actually costing them money to open their restaurants.
Right.
So they're thinking they should double down on delivery and whatever, because it's actually costing them money to open the restaurant. So be very careful through the transition that you're thinking, we're just going to open up and life's going to be beautiful, because it's not. The takeout and delivery thing is here to stay. So the longer you take to get on board with it, the more the people around you become established, and you're competing with something that you don't have a head start on.
And Dennis, habits have been created. You know what? People are now are used to not going out. They're used to eating at home. They're used to doing webinars with no socks on.
That's right. That's right.
There's new habits.
That's right. So 26% responded they're doing it, and it's great. So 26% of the people are doing it with their own staff. They have it figured out. Those are the people that are positive. They're moving forward. They're probably not as fearful about what's happening in their business because they've figured it out, right?
Yeah.
They have happier staff. So imagine you do deliveries with your own staff, Craig, and now it's one of your staff members going to one of your customers. And even though they're 6 feet away, they drop it on the thing. They stand back. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, Kate, man, haven't seen you in 2 months. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you appear to be working. I was worried about you. You get the staff engagement. You get the restaurant engagement, all because your head waitress delivered an order. Your head bartender delivered an order. Wow. And it's almost for sure that if it's your staff doing it, and we're going to get into this, I'm kind of previewing, but if it's your staff doing it, you're pretty convinced it's not going to come upside down. It's not going to come late. It's not going to come kicked around. It's not going to evaporate between your restaurant and the customer because you didn't push the right button to lock the third-party delivery driver into saying that it's yours, and all of the rules you have to follow. It's going to be done well. And 3% said doing it, and so far so good. So it's pretty overwhelming to me that a lot of people just need to realize that it is simple to do. It's just not easy. It's a step-by-step process. It's not optional. And I mean, it's kind of exciting, but I get it. Everyone's, but it's my food, and it's my, you know what? We have a contact in London who's using us for his business, and he's a consultant to high-end restaurant. He has Michelin star restaurants in his roster, and he has Michelin star restaurants doing takeout. And they're doing it very carefully. Everything's prepackaged. It's a whole process, how to reheat it. You put this sauce on there, you do this, and you create your own fabulous meal. Provence Restaurant in Vancouver, same thing. They're doing really high-end, including a bottle of really nice wine, blah, 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 takeout dinner packages. So for everyone who's thinking, it won't work for my business because we're a bit of a high-end restaurant. Oh my gosh, you're wrong. Michelin star restaurants are doing this in London. Oh, I know, but I'm from Toronto. Okay, yeah, but that's London, right? So we sort of have to get out of our own way here, Craig.
Yeah.
We sort of have to realize that we can keep saying, I'm Toronto, I'm Vancouver. Toronto's different, Vancouver's different. If London, land of overpriced, crappy food with Michelin star restaurants, can have Michelin star restaurants doing delivery and takeout, I think probably Vancouver and Toronto could too. Just a thought. I mean, or maybe not. So here's what's cool. If you actually run the numbers, and of course these are pie in the sky numbers, blah blah blah, but they're so small. So if we take a look and say you were open you were open every day for 8 hours, and your drivers could do 4 deliveries an hour, you would cost $2.19 per order. Now, is that realistic? Well, nobody's going to do 4 deliveries an hour for 8 hours straight. But okay, so what if you did 4 deliveries, or you're only open 20 days a month, and you're only open 4 hours a day, and you only average 3 deliveries an hour? It's still only costing you $6.77 an order. What if your average order is $30, Craig? I mean, we got to do the math. I know it's hard. Yep. So if your average order is $30 and you're giving up 30%, And again, let's be honest about the 30% that the third-party delivery apps charge. It's not costing you 30%. It's actually costing you about 8% in lost orders, pissed off customers, claims against you. And none of those claims are usually against you because your food was bad. It was because the delivery driver screwed it up on the way. So it's actually costing you about 38%. But let's use 30. It's easier math. You had a $30 order and you paid 30%. That's $9. Okay, so even 20 days a month, 4 hours a day, 3 deliveries an hour, you're still cheaper than the cost of using a third-party delivery service. So, is it worth doing your own deliveries? It's absolutely ridiculous not to be figuring out a way to do your own deliveries right now in a time where you get the government rebate.
And Dennis, there's not a problem charging your customer a delivery fee. The apps, I mean, the apps are now,
Sometimes they do, yeah.
them on the first one and stuff like that. But if you're going to charge, it's not a problem to charge a $5 delivery fee, a nominal delivery fee. Look, you can pick up for free, or we charge $5.
Yeah.
You don't have to do free delivery.
Yeah. Or you can pick up and get a free cookie, or you can pay $5, or you can pay no delivery fee to get it, but you don't get the free cookie. You know, there's lots of ways to think to actually take your dollar worth of food cost and labor that isn't really a labor cost. If your guy was sitting around doing nothing anyways, then you don't really have a labor cost to make cookies. So always be thinking, when can I substitute extra value, extra thing that people will like, an extra side of fries, an extra something, rather than a discount.
Yeah.
But these are the strategies. So you're bang on, Craig. I mean, it's just not that hard to do. Sorry, it's simple to do. It's just not easy, because now you have to figure it out. Now, again, there's apps out there like Delivery Biz Connect. It includes the whole route optimization, so you can take a completely rookie driver. He downloads the app and he just follows the thing, and it tracks it, whatever. So with technology, deliveries become a little bit less scary. But yeah, you need to begin your own deliveries with your own rehired staff.
It is. It's just that simple, Dennis. I mean,
yeah, you know, the benefits are going to run out. Your staff will eventually need to find a new job or come back to you or do something. You know, right now it's tricky because there's some people that are actually more comfortable taking benefits than going back to work. And so that's a bit of a legislation issue in Canada, and as well, US is suffering even bigger than Canada with this. But you know, if the opportunity, so in the old days, if you tried to get your staff to do deliveries, they'd probably quit.
Yeah.
Today, if they quit, where are they going to go work? So I think you'll find that your staff in general will be resistant, no question. I mean, the hardest part we're finding is not the owner making the decisions to save his house, but convincing his staff that he needs their help to save his house. Because somehow what I see, which is crazy to me, like restaurant industry is one of the lowest margin industries out there. If you're not passionately in love with being a restaurant owner, you probably shouldn't be one, because you're not getting rich until you're really huge or really famous, which doesn't happen for most. But somehow all of the staff, it's really crazy, right? Every restaurant owner is convinced that his landlord's a rich fat cat that can afford to go without rent. He needs to help me. And they get angry as anything at their landlord for not helping. Yet they get angry at their staff when their staff thinks they're rich. Well, like it all goes upstream, right?
Yeah.
I have 8 rental properties and they all have mortgages, and none of them are making me lots of money yet. Yeah, sure. If I don't lose them all in the middle of COVID, yeah, eventually they were my retirement plan. Who knew that could go sideways when everyone stops paying rent and the mortgages still need to be paid? Fortunately, thank you, RBC, all my mortgages are on hold for 6 months, and I can have the happy advantage of paying all the interest on all of that interest that I didn't pay. Anyways, different story. I digress. Begin doing deliveries with your own rehired staff. Make it clear when you come back, here's the things we're going to need from you. It's a different world. We're really sorry. When it gets back to normal, the more it gets back to normal, the more it'll get back to normal. But right now, my God, your happy face delivering an order is going to make that customer happy.
Yeah.
Right? Do it by bicycle. Do it by car.
Staff is looking to do something. They want to get out of the house. They want to get back. And this is a chance. We've heard from many of our customers. It's a chance to cull the herd.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that was a bit shocking too, when you're like, hey, we could get all your staff back. And the customer's like,
I don't want them all back.
I don't want them all back. So again, hopefully there's not too many staff on this webinar because you might be a bit offended, but come on, man, this is reality. You don't lose your house. You have a tough time staying at home. You're asked to do something you don't really like to do. Like imagine the person who has to be the washroom attendant. I think I picked doing deliveries, Craig. Pick me for deliveries. I don't want to be
Yeah.
the washroom attendant, right? I want to be out. I don't want to be in the store. So anyways, you got to do deliveries. It's not that hard. There's technology to assist you.
Yeah.
And step number 7, because we haven't said
Are we
data.
going back to data again?
We haven't said data in probably 9 minutes, Craig.
Yeah.
We are remiss in using the word data.
Oh.
So step number 7 is all this yummy data coming in can be used to create more yummy data. And the more yummy data you have, the more yummy data you can get, and the more word spreads. So what can you do with your data? Well, first of all, any good system should be able to send an email the next day saying, how was it? Now, this is whether you're using the third-party apps or your own app, a simple thing saying, how was it? Whether they picked it up, whether they delivered it, how was it? And you do this from the owner or manager or someone very high up. You don't do this from the amazing customer support team. No, this needs to be, look, if something's wrong, I, the owner, or I, the general manager, or I, the person of authority, need to know about it. Reply to this email. We will make it right. It's magical. You find out all kinds of things about how your current method of shipping a product is wrong. Well, this was soggy, that was soggy. And if you're getting that feedback, you can keep them your customer by offering them a free something next time. More importantly, you can learn what's wrong with the way you're packaging stuff. Most common mistake, Craig, most common mistake. Such a common mistake that McCain's has published an entire beautiful PDF on how to do French fries properly by delivery. And of course, they offer their 19 options on what fries you can buy from them that are pre-done. But the general rule of thumb is the best way to ship fries is actually in the McDonald's style. Oh, there we go. Bloody McDonald's again, right? They figured some stuff out. Is in one of those things where your fries are standing up and you put a napkin into it, and then the napkin comes up over the top of the French fries and into the front of that container. And then you ship them standing up. So of course that's a problem with some of the third-party guys because they shake all the stuff a few times before they deliver it. But standing up, and this creates enough ventilation that the fries don't go soggy. If you're going to put your fries in a box, you are absolutely destroying your fries. If you're going to put them in a box that isn't ventilated, and again, let's take a look. I mean, KFC is not the best example. They sort of try and they still end up a bit soggy sometimes. But you take your cardboard delivery box and you pay someone who's sitting around anyways, and they're only 25% of what they normally cost, to poke a bunch of air holes into your boxes that you're shipping French fries in. By having proper ventilation and using a proper third-party delivery bag, right? Having the proper thing will actually keep everything breathing. And by doing this, your fries will still arrive crispy, right? If you have amazing fries delivered, they're coming back to you over the guy that served them soggy fries. Even if your hamburger was fantastic and your fries are soggy, oh gosh, yeah, who wants mushy fries? Oh, there you go. That's the problem with takeout, man. The fries suck. And the fries didn't suck. It didn't suck when you put them in the box, but when you close the box up or put them in something plastic and there's no way to breathe, you're killing your fries. You're killing your customer. Ouch. So you see, Craig, it's not easy, but it is simple. How do you know these things? You got to know these things. You got to experiment. You got to make your menu good because now you got data. With data, you do that. And then what if a week later it's like, hey, you did some takeout with us or you did some delivery with us a week ago. Anything we can do for you today?
Yeah.
Like
Plus
something
you
like
can keep people informed of what's going on, when you're reopening, any new menu items. Hey, our kitchen is closing in 15 minutes.
Bingo.
Imagine how important it is to send that out. Wow, I was thinking about the kitchen's closing. I wasn't thinking about, I am a little bit hungry. Yeah, I think I should go and get a little.
Why do you think the television is loaded with Domino's Pizza and Pizza Hut ads at 11 o'clock at night? Because that's when you're not really thinking of ordering a pizza until you see the darn thing on TV. So by simply saying, hey, our kitchen's closing, if you needed anything, let us know. We can still slip that order in. A whole bunch of people that had no intention of ordering from you. Well, that was really nice of them. You know what? Last time that burger and fries was good. Or, hey, you know what? I need a 6-pack of beer and I got to buy the fries to go with it. No big deal. Let's do that. Delivered alcohol and a bucket of fries. Fantastic, right? So, man, oh man, the data. that you can use the automated data so that it's actually happening without you doing anything. It's just continuing to touch on them, and the blast data. Now, of
Yeah.
course, if you can get into a mobile app ordering situation where you can send push notifications to their phone, that's more real time than email. So that's even better, right? So you're going to be blasting it out on Facebook. And no, I'm sorry, your 22,000 followers on Facebook generates you probably, it's a weird thing. It's an inverse ratio. The more followers you have on Facebook, the smaller percentage Facebook delivers to. And the reason why is they want you spending money to get to them, right?
Yeah.
They're a business. So you have your control of your mail list. If you can have push notifications to their phone because you've been doing online ordering through a mobile app that allows you to do that, all of these things allow you to keep inviting them back. Now, Craig, what if I told my friend? What if I told my friend about the experience I had? What if you sent an email that says, hey, forward this email to your friend and he gets 25% off if he brings this email for a takeout order? If he orders online and comes to pick it up, we'll give him 25% off. Oh, and we'll give you a free bucket of fries. Huh. Wait a second. You mean I can give my customer an offer to give his friends a discount and he won't feel bad about me? You just gave him a discount offer for his friend. What happens if he shows up with that email, Craig, and claims the 25% off? Well, if you have a proper system, you'll know that obviously you sent him the email, and then you can make the decision. Absolutely, we'll give you 25% off. Or, it's only for your friends. Totally up to you. The point is, you've got interaction with that customer.
Yep.
What if he sends it to 20 friends and you pick up 3 customers? How much did it cost you? Oh, right. Wait, if it's done in and amongst your regular automation, it costs you 20 minutes to write the email, 4 minutes to push the buttons, and then you never think about it again. All you know is every now and then someone shows up named Frank from an email that you sent to Joe. And because you have control of the data, they'll never be able to redeem it twice. So you're safe.
And it doesn't need to be a discount. It could be a free
cookie,
side of fries. It could
right?
be free. It could be a free take and bake item. It can be
Exactly.
something that has a high value
Yep.
and a low cost to you.
That's right. And that's really the key. So, I mean, the 7 proven strategies, I get it. They sound overly simple. They're not easy to do. You're going to have to figure some stuff out, right? They're not that complicated, but you got to figure them out. And capitalizing on your data is the biggest part of it. With all these things put in together, it works. You get customers, you get repeat customers, they bring their friends. I know it sounds really easy, but I guarantee implementing any part of these strategies with any software or manual spreadsheets or books of paper, do something instead of nothing, and it will instantly start to change your sales volume every day. So who are we, Craig?
Well, if you haven't got something to collect all this data and do all these things that we're talking about, Delivery Biz Connect enables any local business, not just restaurants, to take online and phone orders within about 10 minutes just to upload your menu.
And before you turn this off, because this is the pitch, it's only $99 a month. We've waived the $349 setup fees. There's no commissions ever. It's $99 a month for an end-to-end solution that works on top of your POS. So there's no crazy, if you don't have a POS, it sort of works as your POS. So before you turn us off, we're not trying to get $1 million out of you. We're not trying to get 19% instead of 30. We're just trying to help.
That's right. It also will allow you to do local deliveries with your existing staff, Dennis.
Yes, full tracking.
Yeah.
It'll help you to reduce the 30% from food delivery service apps. And we say reduce because we honestly recommend use them to bring new customers in your door, and then use all the things we've taught you to convert them to yourself and make more money while you're servicing and making happiness. Remember, we're not about making more money. We're about you creating value for your clients. You gave them a lasagna to cook on Thursday night when they were busy, when they were thinking about it. And of course, that prevented them from going from someone else other than you. Oh my gosh, it just works.
Right. And it does everything. It's all in one. It's phone, online orders, delivery route optimization, driver tracking, automated customer follow-up with a built-in CRM.
Yeah, and that really is the big difference. We are a full-blown CRM working in many verticals. We've added all of this stuff on to work with restaurants. We always worked with restaurants on the CRM side, but to be able to add this extra value and solve so many more problems for them. Oh, it even comes with a check-in module. So as we have this problem with in-house dining, they can download your app, they come in, they just simply push the check-in button. If they're too far away from your restaurant when they push your check-in button, it tells them you're not even at the restaurant. What are you doing, dummy? Right?
Yeah.
So it controls it all for you so that you have when they came, and it can even actually be set so that it's geofenced, that as they walk out, it actually registers when they leave. And now you know the exact time window that they were in your space, so that if you do, God forbid, have some kind of a COVID issue, you have the ability to contact your customers to let them know what's going on, because you'll have all of that data just with that simple check-in. So
Yeah.
normally it's a $349 setup and it's $199 a month.
Yeah.
But to help
We want to
restaurants.
give you a discount right now. We understand you're just getting on your feet. You're just starting to reopen. You're going to need this. So we're doing a free setup and $99 a month for the first year.
Yes. So it's there to make sure that you are making considerably more with it than without it, so that that flat fee, not taking a percentage of your future, is all working out for you.
There you go. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email, contact@deliverybizconnect.com. Give us a phone or a text, 600-900 or 604-900-2384.
Or you can go right to the Buy Now link, and once you've placed your order, someone will be in contact you with 24 hours to help you start the setup process if you haven't figured out from the automated videos and instructions you get the minute you push go.
Well, Dennis, thanks a lot. You know what? I learned a lot. I always love sharing. Thank you for everybody joining us here today. Once again, my name is Craig Peloquin in White Rock.
And I'm Dennis Wilson in Vancouver.
We are Small Business Dream
and Delivery Biz Connect, and we thank you for your time.
Thank you.